to the Do Not Disturb Football Podcast. I am your host, Drew Pelcher. In the red, that is Nimmer. He is our other co host on this show. We are without Darian tonight. He is off being a good husband once again. We have a great weekend of football coming up, playoff football, NFC Championship, AFC Championship. There has been some breaking news that happened today. Earlier today, Aaron Glenn, he was hired as the Jets head coach. Nimmer kind of called this yesterday on the show, so shout out to you, Nim, and it looks like
Oh yeah.
they are moving forward with that. Interesting move, I thought, to say the least, just because he's a defensive coach, and they just had two defensive coaches come through there. What do you think about the hire?
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes the most sense once they got rid of Salah and their defense just went to shit, and their offense just couldn't perform. And I feel like in order, like when you have the team for or the personnel for offense, you need a good defense to kind of just keep the momentum going and whatnot. So I like this hire. It makes sense, but like you said, there has been two defensive coaches so far. So I just hope they give him a little bit more time than Salah, and yeah,
I agree. I hope they give him more than just a year. If you just give a coach 1 year to turn around a roster that, like, especially like the Jets, what they're looking at next year, that's going to be just really unfortunate. I hope they give him more than a year, and I think he's going to be a good coach. I like what he's done with that defense, dealing with the injuries he had all season this year, and kind of the numbers he put up against some really good offenses. I thought he did a good job.
yeah, definitely. Do you think the Lions are gonna go down because they lost both their offense or both their coordinators?
I do. I do think if I had to pick a team that's going to regress next year, I think it would be the Lions, just because when you lose both offensive and defensive coordinators, that's a tough thing to get over. I mentioned it yesterday. We saw the Eagles do that a couple of years ago, and the following year they got to the playoffs, but they were booted out of the first round by the Buccaneers, who the Eagles were favored over in that game. They were lucky to get to the playoffs that year, in my opinion, and it's really tough. It's tough to start a whole new system. And as much as we love Dan Campbell, like I sometimes wonder, like, is he really actually a really good coach, or is he just all, I love you guys, flair, and let's go for it on fourth down? And is that
Yeah,
always going to work?
that's true. I feel like him and Mike Tomlin are more coaches, like great culture coaches, but they're not like Andy Reid, Bill Belichick. They're not really like a systematic type of coach.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I hope the Lions can continue being good. I'm a little nervous for them, though, I will say. Uh, Another coach that was hired today, the Bengals are hiring Notre Dame defensive coordinator Al Golden to be their defensive coordinator heading into next year. Um, I don't really know too much about this guy. I know their defense was pretty good all year for Notre Dame. Um, a lot of people didn't love the way he called the game against Ohio State, but I mean, that's Ohio State. That the weapons are insane with Ohio State. So interesting to see. New name, new face in Cincinnati. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean they needed to do something about the defense. I think that that was really the only thing that made them not succeed this year. They probably could have been maybe even the top seed in the AFC if their defense just could have held them just for a little bit longer. But uh, I like this hire. I think that whenever you get a uh, a defensive coach from a top defense in college, it's always good. It's just going to be different from, this is now the pros. This isn't college. You can't be calling the same play calls that you do in college into the pros. So kind of weary about that, but I think that they needed to do something. So
I think he brings a lot of different blitz packages, so that'll be interesting to see from them next year. Let's get into the games that are going down this weekend. You have the Washington Commanders at Philadelphia and the Buffalo Bills at Kansas City. The last four teams left in each conference championship game. We'll start with the Eagles and the Commanders. Um, it looked like that game against the Rams, it looked like Jalen Hurts did suffer some sort of knee injury. So, Nimmer, I'll ask you, what do you think about this matchup? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Washington and their Cinderella story continues?
I think so. I think this is the best matchup that they could have had in the playoffs. The AFC, the NFC Championship. They're playing a team that they know. They beat once, and even the second time it was a really close. Over the first time it was a really close game, and then the second time they ended up getting over that hill. So I think that the Eagles with Jalen Hurts potentially out or kind of injured, it's that's going to be really the deciding factor, because then if you have Kenny Pickett or who's their third string,
Uh, Taylor McKee, or something like that.
yeah. So that kind of makes the defense a lot easier. You're really just going to have to defend Saquon, so you can even load the box more than you should already. And once you stop that pass that uh, running game, let the quarterback beat you. And I think with Jalen Hurts out, that's a lot easier than when he's in. I think that should be their game plan anyway. I think that don't let Saquon beat you, let Jalen Hurts beat you.
Definitely. I think Washington wins this game. I said it yesterday. I think Washington is going to the Super Bowl this year. What a crazy year for the Commanders to have Jaden Daniels come in as a rookie. And if you do end up in the Super Bowl, that is an amazing feat for that team and Jaden Daniels and Dan Quinn. I mean, this has been a team that I feel like no one really saw coming. And I think it's going to be really interesting if they do end up in the Super Bowl. I am concerned about Jalen Hurts and his knee. I do think there's something going on with that knee. I think you could see it from the moment that he took that hit towards their end zone, where the lineman was on top of him and his knee was completely bent behind him. I thought something might have happened, and then with the play calling, the way they called the game after that, it seemed like it was either handed off to Saquon Barkley or roll out and not get any sort of pressure on you. And if there was pressure, throw it out of bounds. So I am concerned for that. If I'm the Eagles, they are a really good team. Maybe, just maybe, you could just run it on them all day and kind of manage the game. And I'm sure that's probably what they're trying to think of doing if they want to survive this game. But I think Jaden Daniels is just too hot right now. You can't really play a game where you're just running the ball all game on a team like this, because they can pass the ball, they can run the ball, they can do everything they want on offense, and they're playing better than they ever have all regular season right now in the playoffs. So I think Commanders are going to go to the Super Bowl, and it's going to be a very interesting game this weekend.
I think with the Commanders, the deciding factor is going to be their defense. If their defense can hold the Eagles, then that like they did with the Lions, then 100%. But if they
Yeah,
can't, then it's gonna be a really a bigger coin toss. Um, so
yeah.
that's the only concern I have with the Commanders.
I think you really have to. I think the game plan, and I'm pretty sure this is what they're thinking. The game plan will be sell out to stop Saquon Barkley.
100%.
Don't don't have Saquon go off on you for more than 100 yards. If you can stop him, you can contain AJ Brown, Devontae Smith with a limpy Jalen Hurts, he's already going to be at a disadvantage. So I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to try to contain Saquon Barkley as much as they can, and it should be the top priority for them, holding him under 100 yards and getting out of that game with him not putting up a monster game like a 205-yard game like he just did against the Rams. And if they can do that, I think they can win the game.
Definitely.
It'll probably be close no matter what, just because they know each other so well.
So have you looked at the spread?
No, I haven't.
If you could put a spread onto this game, what would it be?
I would say what the wise guys are thinking. Hmm, I would say Philly by 2.5.
Philly by 2.5. So Philly minus 2.5.
Yeah.
FanDuel right now is Philly minus 6.5.
Wow. That's a lot.
So I'm
That's a
sure
lot.
that news is with Jalen Hurts and that sort of thing. The Commanders money line is plus 230. So for the
Wow.
non-sports bettors, for every if you bet $100 on the Commanders, you will receive $230. $230. So
Wow.
that's I know. I was like, I wonder what the spread is, and I saw that, and I was like, oh my god, that's insane.
Six and a
That's
half is a lot.
such a big spread.
What's the spread for Kansas City and Bills
1.5.
in favor of the Bills?
No, the Chiefs
The Chiefs.
because they're home probably.
Yeah. Wow. Well, let's move on to that game. The Chiefs and the Bills, they've faced off many times before in the playoffs. They've been in a lot of close games. And they, I think, are probably considered a rivalry now, even though they're not in the same division. It feels like they meet each other every year or every other year in the playoffs and come down to the wire. So seems like a very close matchup. The Chiefs, honestly, I thought this first game against the Texans, I thought they're going to look a lot better than they actually did. Um, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe they aren't as good as I thought offensively. Um, but what are your thoughts on this game and how it's going to go? How it's going to play out?
This rivalry, quote unquote, reminds me of the Peyton Tom Brady rivalry. Two great quarterbacks. They always somehow meet in the playoffs and all that type of stuff. So that's what I like to kind of compare this game to. And Tom Brady got the best of Tom Brady got the best of Peyton Manning. Patrick Mahomes has gotten the best of um, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
But I think this year, I don't know if it's more wishful thinking or whatnot, but I think this year the Bills are just moving. They just have all the momentum. The Chiefs really don't have that much momentum. They've been skating by throughout the whole entire year. Um, the Chiefs' defense is what concerns me about the Bills. Um, I think that the Chiefs' defense will carry them to the Super Bowl if they win, but I think that the Bills' offense is just too powerful. Bills' defense has been stepping it up. Uh, the Bills are used to the cold in Kansas City. I'm sure it's going to be cold, so I got the Bills in this. I got the Bills. Josh Allen's
Hmm.
finally going to get over that hump.
I hope so. I really hope so. I'm taking the Chiefs. I still got the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, as much as I hate to say that. They are like the worst team to watch, but like you said, their defense really, I feel like no one talks about their defense, and I don't really understand why their defense is really good. You have someone on the front line with Chris Jones, who does really well. Karloftis started to play well against the Texans last week, so it'll be interesting to see if he can keep that up. I like Nick Bolton. I like Chanel, the linebackers that they have. McDuffie, I feel like, is an elite corner, probably in the top five, probably booting out some of your guys' favorites like Jalen Ramsey. Um, He's a really good corner. Justin Reed comes off or comes down the hill really fast. If they're all playing well, which they do every single week, I think they're going to have that edge. They're going to win the turnover battle. I know Josh Allen's been looking really good and not been turning the ball over, but you can't really play the way you played last week against the Ravens and win the game against the Chiefs. You have to score a touchdown, and you have to actually have an effect on the game. Josh Allen didn't really have an effect on that Ravens game most of the game. It really wasn't, other than a couple first downs that he got just running the ball. That was where I thought he had the biggest effect. Outside of that, throwing the ball, he really didn't have that big of effect on the game, and that worries me a little bit going up against a team like the Chiefs for sure.
Yeah, my thing is with the Chiefs, they're just so well rounded. Like, there's not one person that you can really stop. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you stop Cooper, they have three other receivers. You stop Cook, then they have Josh Allen. They have um, Ty Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, they have, whether they're not like
Oh,
superstars or
you're
big
saying
names and stuff.
the
Yeah,
Bills are
yeah.
well rounded.
I think the Bills are. So even if the defense
Okay.
does really well and they shut down one receiver, they have three other receivers. Now they're not like all-star Pro Bowl receivers, but they're still getting the job done. And I think that the Bills are really going to just try to run the ball as much as possible, keep the hands out of Kansas City or Patrick Mahomes' hands.
Yeah. The Chiefs, what I think I always think back to, if they won last year with um, Nicole Hardman and Sky Moore as their wide receivers, I think this year with DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, uh, Juju Smith Schuster, like those names to me are a lot better than what they had last year, and they won last year. So that's kind of what scares me a lot
Mhm.
about their offense.
True. Do you think that if the Commanders win, do you think that they have a chance against the Bills or the Chiefs?
Yeah, I think they do have a chance.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think there's no quarterback right now in the world playing better than Jaden Daniels.
Mm, true.
And when you have a hot quarterback in the Super Bowl, you're definitely gonna have a chance, in my opinion. Even though, like, roster for roster, they're probably the least talented roster left, but you saw what they did against one of the most talented rosters, one of the most talented offenses against the Lions. You saw what they did. If they can make teams turn the ball over and Jaden Daniels can play lights out like he's been playing, it'll just come down to, can you win the turnover battle for the Commanders?
That's true. Hmm. It's gonna be
So
interesting.
let's rank these matchups. Who we
Okay.
want to see the most and who we least want to see. Let's start with the fourth outcome. So the possible matchups, you have Chiefs versus Eagles. That's probably the betting favorite, I would imagine. The Commanders versus Chiefs, Eagles versus Bills, Commanders versus Bills. So let's start at number 4. Number, who do you think you would like to see at or least amount? Who would you least want to see in the Super Bowl?
Probably the um I would say the Commanders and the Chiefs.
Hmm.
I think that would be my least. Ah, I don't know. Maybe the Eagles and the Chiefs. Yeah, the Eagles and the Chiefs. That would be my least like desirable matchup.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't want to see that again. Number 3.
3 would probably be the Commanders and the Chiefs. Yeah. No, it'd probably be the Eagles and the Bills.
Okay, so we're
I'll
right
go.
in line then.
Yeah, I probably go the Eagles and the Bills.
Yeah, that's who I got at the 3 spot too. So 2, you got Commanders, Chiefs,
Yep,
and 1 is Bills, Commanders.
Commanders. Yeah, just thinking of like the storylines and whatnot, like
Just the
having
new
a rookie
teams.
quarterback going against they say the best quarterback in the league right now. You know what I mean? Like that would be such a cool headline. And then nobody wants the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, so just the Commanders and
Yeah.
the Bills, two new teams that everybody thought that were not going to do well. I like that.
I had the Commanders versus Chiefs at the 1 spot, just because I would love to see this Cinderella story be crowned and the Commanders take it all the way. I think that would be such a cool thing to watch. Really, this team, like, I think they were 12-5 or 13-5, I guess, when they first got into the playoffs. I can't remember.
The Commanders,
They had a, yeah,
um, they won 13 games.
I think they won a decent amount of games.
12-5, yeah.
12-5. So they had a decent, pretty good year, really, for
It's really good.
especially with a rookie quarterback. That's a really good year. Um, but it would kind of remind you of like the Giants. Like this is a wild card team that kind of got in
Mm,
and took it all the way to the Super Bowl and won the whole thing. That would kind of remind you of that. Um, they were in a really close game with the Buccaneers, and I think a lot of people picked the Buccaneers to win that game, and they ended up winning that game with the late field goal, and then they blew uh, the Lions out of the water. So now you have the Eagles, who's probably the most, I would say, the most complete roster left, from running back to quarterback to receiver to all the guys they have on defense. Their defense is one of the highest ranked defenses in the league this year.
mhm.
They're probably the most complete roster left. If you can get through that team, I mean, that's insane. And then you can get to play the Chiefs. If you could beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I would love to see that. I would love to see the Commanders versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Interesting. Hmm. I just don't want like I don't know, just seeing the Chiefs again in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Just
I agree. Yeah,
like that's why it's two for me. Like I get
that
what you're
makes sense.
saying, but like I would love to see Josh Allen in the Super Bowl in the Bills.
Yeah.
Especially because everybody wrote off the Bills, everybody wrote off the Commanders, right? Like nobody
Mhm.
thought, oh, they lost Stephon, they lost. This is a rebuilding year. This is a rebuilding year. Blah 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 blah. They ended up winning the Super Bowl. So
Yeah, definitely. Let's play a little game. So we did this last week, me and Darian did. This is called Going Places. I'm going to name off a couple of free agents, and I want you to give your opinion on where you think they'll go. If they're a re-sign, like they're going to re-sign with their team, you could say that.
okay.
Uh, but if you think they're going to go somewhere, um, tell me where you think they're going to go. So we'll start with the guy that just said today he's going to play in 2025. There was, I guess, a little bit of teeter tottering with maybe retirement or not. Let's go with Khalil Mack.
Um, I think he's going to resign.
Okay.
I think he's definitely going to resign with Harbaugh there. He's going to be like, all right, I'm going to give it one more year, and whatnot.
Yeah, I think Harbaugh really likes him, so I would imagine he does resign. Um, I would say if he like wanted to get a higher paycheck, I could see a team like the Panthers
Mm,
offering him good money and then him going there.
I could see that too.
He only had like 6 sacks this season, I think, so it wasn't like a crazy year for Mack, but he is really good. He started the season well. He always seems to start the season really well.
Yeah, I can see the Panthers, especially because they love having a like a big name. They need a big name on the on that defense or on that team in general. So
Yeah, definitely. What about he didn't play too much this year. He had a lot of injuries going on. Talanoa Hufanga.
that's the Niners safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
Baby
Yeah.
Troy.
Yep.
I think he's gonna resign as well. Um, I think that since the off season, like the past couple years, he was so. I think he missed the Super Bowl last year, and then this year is just more like a tanking year essentially. So I think he'll resign. Where I would want him to go would probably be some team like don't want him to go, but if he wants a paycheck, I can see him going to the Bengals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that too. Yeah, I would imagine he resigns. I think they really like him in San Francisco. But I would say a team that got rid of their safeties last year and might be looking for one this upcoming off season, Buffalo Bills.
Mm, that's not a bad
That'd be,
one.
that'd be interesting.
Next to Demar.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
What about Hollywood Brown? He's a free agent after this season.
um, I don't think that they're gonna re-sign him. I think he will go to. I'm trying to look at the. I have like a bunch of like football helmets, so I'm trying to picture of the teams. Uh, I think he'll go to either the Jags or not Commanders, maybe Raiders.
Hmm.
Those are the two teams I think that, or the Titans.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know where he'll end up. Um, I could see maybe possibly the Chiefs bringing him back. He would just have to play for like dirt cheap. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he would want to do that.
No, definitely.
What about if we paired him back up with Baker Mayfield and put him with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I guess
Mm,
that'd probably mean Chris Godwin would have to be out.
yeah, exactly. That's why I don't know because
He's a
they already
free agent
have.
too.
He is.
Yeah,
Ooh, interesting. Wow.
but what's his face McMillan? He was pretty good at the end.
Hmm.
So maybe
That
there's
would.
not enough room for Hollywood Brown. It'd just be an interesting thought. Nick Chubb.
Yeah. Nick Chubb. Honestly, I can see him. They're probably gonna re-sign him, but I can kind of see
Yeah,
him going to the Bears.
hmm.
That
Little
would be.
Swift Chubb.
Yeah.
That'd be a
Is
pretty
Swift still
dangerous
there,
backfield. I think I think he
or is
is.
it a 1 year deal?
No, I think they just signed him to like a 3-year deal last year. I think
Oh, okay.
because he was a free agent last year.
Yeah. Oh.
So Nick Chubb, I would imagine he does resign. He had that one long statement that he gave to the Browns, professing his love for the city and all that. But let's just think: what if that was a goodbye?
Mm,
What if the writing's on the wall for Nick Chubb and the organization said, like, yeah, you're gonna finish this season out, but like we're probably gonna roll with someone different next year. I highly doubt that's what's going on,
yeah,
but
that would be interesting.
a
But
team
where?
that probably, huh?
No, go ahead.
A team that probably needs a running back, and this would look terrible, I think, but maybe the Raiders.
Or the Cowboys.
Yeah,
A
I
big name like Chubb.
we did this last week, and me and Darian did this last weekend. I brought up Najee Harris, and I said I think he might go to the Cowboys.
I can see that too. What were the names that you guys picked?
Let me see. We did DeAndre Hopkins, Aaron Jones,
Mm,
Drake Greenlaw, Javon Holland, and Najee Harris.
interesting. I'll have to go back and look at that.
Um, but yeah, the Raiders
That
maybe.
would be crazy.
I think that would look terrible.
That would look awful. I could.
But
It's something the Raiders would do though.
yeah.
Honestly, I can definitely see that happening.
What about someone who had a pretty uh, big breakout year this year out of Philly? He is a free agent, and really, it's like a dream scenario for him because he's one of those free agents about to hit the market that just had like a breakout year, even though he's been in the league for a while. But you see this happen quite a bit where a linebacker comes in and has his best year, and then another team pays that linebacker like a boatload of money, and he goes somewhere else. Zach Bond.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna just put all defensive players on the Bengals because that's exactly what they need. But besides the Bengals, I can see him going to the Jets,
Jets.
especially with Aaron Glenn there. You need
Yeah.
like a top linebacker to kind of
Yeah.
run that defense too. I can see him going to the Jets.
I think he's going to have multiple offers. I think he's been in the league for a good amount of years. I don't know how many years, but he's been in the league for a while. And really this year, out of nowhere, he just appeared for Vic Fangio's defense in Philly and has done really well. Sacks, tackles, has done a lot of things for them.
So he got drafted in 2020.
Oh, okay. So it's been
So he's still on
5
his
years.
rookie contract track. I think that's what
Hmm,
he's on right now.
nice. I know he was playing with the Saints, I believe.
Eagles. You mean before?
Before the Eagles, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He got drafted by the Saints.
I think he was just getting like special team reps with them and then
Hmm.
went to the Eagles and now he's a big name. I mean, I think he's probably going to get a lot of money. I think it happens a lot with linebackers. They have a really good year and then they go somewhere else and they get paid a lot. So I will say the team that kind of puts the most money on the table for him. I like the Jets. That's a really good pick. I could see them doing that. But I'll say the Cardinals.
Ooh, that's a good one too. Hmm. I like that. Yeah, they need help on defense too.
Yeah. And he does a lot of different things. He rushes the passer and makes a lot of holes or a lot of tackles in the hole. So I don't know. I don't know if his success is going to continue. I hope it does. Uh, Vic Fangio probably showed exactly how you can use him, but it seems like with Vic Fangio, just because I know when he was with the Broncos, like there were good linebackers there when he was the coach, and it seemed like they went other places and didn't do that well. So I don't know. Let's end this show with Rage Cage. It's a little bit of a shorter show, but it's good for me because I am exhausted. I want to go to bed. So
It's funny.
let's do the Rage Cage. What do you got for us
All
today,
right.
man?
So we're talking about all these free agents, coach hires, and all that type of stuff. So my rage cage is for all these NFL owners. We kind of touched upon it earlier in the show. And we need to let these coaches coach. Let these coaches coach and give them time to actually coach. And it's the same thing with the quarterbacks. They need to also develop. Like, patience is key when it comes to this sort of thing. Like, look at the Lions. The Lions, when Dan Campbell first got in, he was like 0-13 before he won his first game. And then look at him now. he had one of the best teams in the NFL. Let these coaches coach. Let these quarterbacks develop. Yeah, there are these outliers like Dan Quinn might go to the Super Bowl, um, C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels. There are some of these outliers, but not every coach is going to bring your crappy ass team to the AFC or NFC championship. Let them do their thing, get the people around that they chose, because right now they're dealing with a team that they had no decisions on, unless they completely get rid of all 53 people on that roster. Let these coaches coach. Give them a little bit of time to get their feet underneath them, and then see how it goes. And with all these Mike Tomlin haters, how are you gonna coach somebody? How are you gonna coach a team without a quarterback? Tell me that, Drew. Tell me, how can you coach a team without a quarterback?
You can. I mean, definitely
Okay.
not in today's league. You
So
can't
in
do it.
today's league, you want to fire your coach because he doesn't have a fucking quarterback. What sense does that make? Give him a quarterback. If he had a good quarterback and he still lost the playoff game, all right, I understand that. But he literally took a 40-year-old Russell Wilson to the fucking playoffs. Like, what are we talking about? That him and TJ Watt are the only good thing that is happening with the Steelers, and we want to get rid of them. Be patient. Be patient. Whether it's a Steeler fan, whether it be anybody, be patient, and your time will come.
It is crazy. Ever since living here in Pittsburgh, like I don't know if this fan base has always been this insane, but like this year I feel like is peak just lunacy from the Steeler
Mm-hmm.
fans.
Yeah.
When I hear Steeler fans bring up, yeah, let's just trade TJ Watt, I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like you're gonna trade away the best player on your team by far for what?
Yeah. Nothing can be compensated for that unless we get 5 first-round picks in this year's draft. And this year's draft really isn't that, like, you know, that big that I'm willing to trade TJ Watt for. So stupid.
Some things I get, like George Pickens letting him walk, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. He's kind of like to me, he's kind of like a glorified wide receiver too.
Mhm.
He's
100%.
not very he's not consistent enough to be considered a wide receiver one, and he's had a little bit of a time to develop that.
And he only has a deep ball. Like, what
Yeah,
else does he have besides the deep ball? You know what I mean?
right.
Like,
He's
I would
he's
pick
not the best. He's really not the best like route runner out
no,
there.
not at all. I would pick Devonte Smith over him, and
Yeah.
he's a wide receiver
Oh yeah.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it's crazy. But yeah, I don't know with the Steeler fan, man. I don't know what's going on with the Steeler fans, but like, because we've lost the playoffs and stuff like that, we're just like a chicken with our head cut off. Like, oh, we need to do this. We need to do. Like, what are we talking about?
I
Like,
know.
what the
I hear
what?
some of them like because I see like a bunch of like podcasts from Steeler fans on my TikTok page just because
Mm,
I'm here, I think. And I hear some of them say like we should just blow the team up. And I'm like, you really want to do that?
that's so
like
stupid.
like imagine blowing the team up and then you're bad for the next 5 years and Tomlin's gone and then you're just in the abyss of the NFL that like
Yeah.
with the Browns, like you're just one of those teams.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Or even worse, we're like the Cowboys or the Niners, where we're like, oh, remember when we used to be good? Remember when we used to go
Yeah.
to the playoffs? Oh, yeah. And then we start throwing, how many rings does your team have? Yeah, well, you didn't win in the century, so it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm tired of
Yeah.
having that. I saw this one thing on my brother actually sent it to me. Shout out Mike, from Colin Coward. Coward,
Yeah.
is that how you say his last name?
Yeah. Okay, coward, yeah.
This is like the mind-boggling thing of
I
why
think I saw this thing.
why people have microphones and are on national TV and get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars for doing stuff like this. This is the trade. Steelers get Shador Sanders. Okay, Shador Sanders from the Titans. So first round pick or first pick in the draft. Okay, first pick in the draft, we get Shador. We're giving up T.J. Watt, George Pickens, 2025 first round pick, and 2026 first round
That is so insane.
pick. Like what for Shador Sanders?
Yeah, I saw that.
What?
I
I was
saw
like,
that clip where he said, "If you believe he's the number one quarterback, this is what I do." I'm like, bro,
how are you
like,
getting paid millions and millions of dollars? Like what? You let's go. Since we're a fantasy show, let's do a fantasy draft. If this type of draft trade was happening in fantasy, we would kick him out of the league. We'd be like,
oh yeah,
listen, you cannot. This is absolutely not not okay.
he wouldn't even get a warning. He'd be kicked
Yeah,
out of the
it'd be
league.
like you're out. You don't know fantasy. Get the hell out of here. It's crazy. It's crazy when people are like, "Oh yeah," like especially Steeler fans. That should have been my rage cage. Like, why are we so upset? We made it to
Yeah.
the playoffs without a quarterback for the second year in a row. Like,
If
look at
anything, I feel like Steeler fans should be excited with Justin Fields at the helm and seeing something different now.
yeah, 100%. I mean, look at the Patriots. Without how what were they like without Tom?
Yeah, nothing.
I mean, they went to the playoffs the first round and they got Mac Jones. They drafted Mac Jones and then got rid of
Yeah,
him, and now they're what, the third pick in the draft?
they got destroyed by the Bills in that playoff game.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, what are we talking about? Like, it's just so crazy. Would you rather be the Patriots, where you get the third round and you have 4 wins on the season, or would you rather have 10 wins on the season and go to the playoffs? Like, just people don't know how to think anymore.
Yeah,
Common sense just flew out the window.
yeah, it makes no sense. And like for me, like for the Steelers, I'm like, why doesn't Omar Khan get more heat? Why is it all on Tomlin?
Yeah,
Omar Khan, Omar Khan, the organization was in all these rumors about trading for a receiver, and the best thing you got was Mike Williams. You were in talks with Garrett Wilson and
Devontae Adams,
Devonte Adams, and
Ayuk.
there was Ayuk, Ayuk to start the season. You were in all those conversations, and you couldn't get any of them. You got Mike Williams, who's he's not even close to being a wide
Yeah.
receiver two. So he's a wide receiver 3 or 4 on most teams.
hmm One thing about the Steelers, though, which I don't like now that I'm coming down, we don't really make that many offseason changes. Last year was one
Yeah.
of the first years where we're like, all right, this is like we got not Roquan Smith, what's his name?
Oh, Queen, Patrick Queen.
Yeah, Patrick Queen. We got Patrick Queen was a huge pickup. Oh my god, that was such a big pickup. And then we got two quarterbacks in free agency, which we usually just draft and oh, this isn't good. All right, we're gonna go. You know what I mean? Like go through that cycle. But so like I don't know why. You know what's crazy is the GMs barely ever get the hot seat.
Yeah.
If you think about it, everybody just thinks that, oh, why did Mike Tomlin make this trade? Like Mike Tomlin had nothing to do with this trade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? Mike Tomlin needs to get more receivers, and I'm like, well, Mike Tomlin's not in charge of that. That's not his
Right.
job title. Like, he's the coach
Yeah.
of the NFL team.
Yeah. It's craziness. Um, from my rage cage, I feel like we beat the hell out of the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. So that could have been my rage cage. It's not going to be.
That was gonna be mine too, but yeah, I thought
Yeah.
the same thing.
I think we just talked too much about it. I would say the advertisements, and I know this is a battle that's never going to end. Like it's probably only going to get worse, really. But I think they're getting like out of hand. I think they were out of hand before. Now they're like completely out of hand, and we like just all hate them. But I hate that the fact like every single timeout or like not even a timeout, they do it like just in the middle of plays sometimes, or they're like, "Oh, here's a quick word from Allstate," and then like the screen gets like this big, and you have the advertisement next to it, and the plays going like they called hike, and you're like, "Oh, I wish I could see that." But no, I'm sitting here listening to why I should buy fucking Sprite. Like it's ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. And
Yeah.
like everyone's complaining about the red zone finally, or not finally, having ads now. But like at least it's not like in the middle of the damn game where like a play's going on and they shrink the screen and then there's this ad going on and you're like, wow, this sucks. Like,
And they're
oh,
bad ads too.
another rage cage. I just heard about this morning and I don't know if it's confirmed, but apparently Netflix is raising their prices again.
I saw that.
And so I think we don't pay the ultimate premium, whatever it's called, because that one has like 4K and I don't even know. I don't even know what the difference is. We have the one where you don't pay for the ads, like you don't get ads.
Mm, yeah. Okay.
So that one's like 15.99, which is nuts. Like
That
that
is
is
nuts.
nuts. And apparently they saw like a record amount of subscriptions this last year from raising their prices the first time that they're like, "Oh, we can get more. Let's raise it again." And now that's going to be 17.99.
Oh my god.
Like, and Netflix, like, let's be honest, they have some cool shows and movies here and there, but like all the Netflix owned movies are terrible.
Hmm.
Like every time someone's like, "You should go watch this movie," and I come home and I turn it on and I see this is a Netflix created movie, I'm like, "Nope," and I just turn it off. Like I'm not. If you're recommending me a Netflix produced movie, just know I'm never watching that movie. Like I know it's not a good movie.
What's gonna suck is that like it's the live sports too. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or the Jake Paul fight. You know what I mean? Like that's what sucks. But yeah.
Let me look it up just to see if it's been confirmed.
But yeah, honestly, one thing going back to the ad thing, it's like number one, they like literally beat the. It's like beating a dead horse. They just same ad, same ad, same ad, same ad, same ad. It's like what is happening. Number two
Yeah.
is that remember when like Super Bowl commercials like their Doritos where the child slaps, "Don't touch my mama" and "Don't touch my Doritos." You know, like
Yeah.
that. That's like pure content. We have so many cool content creators and all of this social media and TikToks and all this other type of stuff. And then we have lame ass commercials. Like, what are we talking about? What are we doing? You know, like it's just like the audacity where I'm like, whoever created this ad is a complete dumbass. Is a complete dumbass and should get fired immediately. Like that was such
Yeah.
why would you pay millions of dollars to air that? And it's so bad. Like, I don't know.
I kind of enjoy commercials in a way from like when it's the game and then there's a commercial
Hmm.
and then you can get up and go grab a drink or like go talk to somebody, come back, kind of do your own thing during the commercial. But when it's like mid game, like the plays are going
Oh,
on
I
and there's
see.
an
I see.
advertisement running, I hate those.
Yeah.
I hate those.
Yeah, that's annoying.
And like you're just forcing the advertisement towards us because we're trying to watch the game. We don't give a shit about Allstate. Like we don't care about that. You know, like, and it has been confirmed. I saw it by NPR. Netflix is raising their prices.
When?
I think it is may have already started.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so the standard now is 17.99 a month, and their premium is 25.99 a
Oh
month.
my god.
Who's paying for the premium? Like,
That's
I
insane.
feel like I'm getting robbed 17.99 a month. They're the next live sport thing they do. That thing better be pristine,
Hmm.
crisp. They better have the best commentators. They better have like Muhammad Ali himself from 20 years ago be like unfrozen and talk from like it's just
That is
I
funny.
can't believe they're raising their prices after putting on these just absolute disaster live events and we just keep eating it like we should honestly just boycott Netflix.
100%. Because you know what's gonna happen now. Peacock's gonna raise their prices.
Oh yeah,
Hulu's gonna raise their prices. Paramount Plus is gonna raise their prices. You know, like all of these, they're like, shit. If people are paying $17 for Netflix, why are they only paying us $10? What the hell? All right, let's bump it
yeah,
up to 15. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, you're spending over $150 on streaming websites, and then another $100 on cable, and it's just like, it's crazy.
definitely. Well, I think that is it from us today. We have those really good NFC, AFC championship games coming up this weekend. We cannot wait for those. Nimmer, you want to say anything before we get out of here?
Yeah, just it hit me when I was laying down or just before this. We only have three more games left,
That's it.
not including the Pro Bowl. Three
Well, no
more
one's watching
games,
that shit.
huh? Yeah,
No, no one's watching flag football and skill. I mean, maybe the skill. I didn't watch any of last year's Pro Bowl at all.
yeah.
I think the skill games is kind of fun. It's like what they used to do, so that's kind of
Mhm.
cool.
I'm watching clips. I'll just
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
just
not.
watch the highlights. I'm not
I'm
spending my.
definitely I'm definitely not watching the flag football game.
Yeah, no, absolutely
Like who
not.
wants to watch that?
Uh, so we have three games left. Even if it's the Chiefs and you don't want to watch the Chiefs, just remember 3 games left until we have, what is it, 5 6 months till football.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so just
And
keep that in mind while watching them this Sunday.
and no one's like, are you actively watching the NBA?
I don't think I've seen. I never watch any regular season
Yeah,
NBA games.
no one's watching the NBA anymore.
Yeah,
So like
seriously.
once football's over, I watch a little bit of college basketball, so I'll watch that. But like
Hockey.
pretty
I started getting into hockey.
yeah, hockey's cool too. What you have to look forward to is college basketball, hockey. If you like golf, I don't love watching golf, but that's what you have to look forward to. So let's
Mhm.
really enjoy these last three games.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
We will be back next week with reactions from those NFC AFC championship games, and we'll probably talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. It will come fast. Make sure you join us back here Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for watching.